We are going to look at different sacrifices of all times. Up here we can see the opera game, very famous game, was played between the Paul Morphy and Duke Karl. Here white sacrificed a bunch of pieces by that time already, and going for the bishop g7 now, where it attacks the king and a queen at the same time. If black would do something like queen d8, white could continue with queen b8, king a7, queen e5, putting in danger this, and finally there's bishop f6 and like rook g7 coming. But black went for knight to g7 and they didn't expect what happened next. White sacrificed their queen and moved all the way to b8. Now it puts in danger the king on e8, and there is no way to stop this check. There is no way to run away as well. So after knight to b8, rook to d8 was delivered a checkmate because the bishop is defending the rook and there is no way to stop this. This example is referred in many of the puzzle books. I've seen this like countless times, and this is a very nice example how you can sacrifice a bunch of pieces and then deliver a background checkmate. The next example up here we can see is a very nice example of the distraction tax. So it was played between the Dergubov and 9th world champion Tigran Petrosyan, and here we can see that there are many pieces focused on the queen side. So there's a king on a1 along with a pawn on a2, but black has their pawn on c3, knight on b4, queen c5, as well as a rook on b8. So you can see that it's like overhung on the queen side, while white didn't achieve much on the king side because everything is kind of stuck within the center here. So the next move was definitely not expected. I would expect something like queen a5, let's continue queen a2, but Tigran Petrosyan went for queen to c4. Incredible move. It sacrifices a queen, but actually it just distracts the bishop on d3. Whereas if white would continue with king b1, black would continue with queen a2, king c1, queen a1 would be a mate. And if white would take on c2, it would end up in a mate on c2 right now. So taking on c4 is not a good idea. So again, bishop c4, knight c2, there is no way to run away. b1 is taken by the rook. There is no way to stop this. Incredible example of distraction attack. Here we can see another example was played between the Evanskog and Chiparinov, another very strong grandmaster from Bulgaria. There is the rook on g7 controlling the g file, and we can see that there is many pieces focusing on the king on h1. There is a queen, there is a rook, as well as there is a knight here. So this position was black to move, and since the king is so undefended, we should take advantage before white actually defended. So black went for queen h2, where it puts a check the king. There is only one escape, king takes h2, but after rook h4, puts in danger this king. Bishop h3 is the only move. Black continue with knight f3, where the only escape square is h1, and after rook h3, queen h2, rook h2 was delivered a checkmate. How to recognize this pattern, or how to understand that the king is really in danger? You can see that there are not so many pieces defending, like the king, the rook, and the bishop. There is not so many ways to stop this as well. So you should always look for the forcing moves. Again, checks and captures are extremely helpful in those situations. Next example up here was played between the two strong players as well, where it was black to move, and again we would expect something like bishop to b4 to put that king on e1 in danger, or possibly like rook takes b2. But now incredible move happened, like queen takes b1. Why? What's going on? Like, well, after rook to b1, bishop b4 will be delivered the checkmate. There is no way to block this now, and the bishop is controlling d1, e2, so the black light square bishop, and this is delivering a mate. And what happens if after queen b1, king will try to run away to d2? Well, there is like a few ways to deliver checkmate in 2, but there is a nice way to deliver checkmate in 1. So after bishop b4, it actually checks the king, controls this diagonal as well as this one, and that's a checkmate here.